All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz. Interesting week. I'm going to just start there.
Yeah.
Very interesting week, and it feels like on both Raw and SmackDown, it feels like they improvised for
They did.
a number of reasons and a number of kind of off-screen reasons and injury-related reasons for both shows. Not sure I totally understand or totally agree with some of the approaches that were taken, but we'll dive into it, Big D. Monday Night Raw, man. I mean, I think the biggest thing was the Vision or the
Yeah,
Vision no
so they
more.
opened up the show. Yeah, they opened up the show, Seth Rollins on the mic, and they really did telegraph this massively. So spoiler alert, Braun Breaker.
It's like everybody's seen it. We all know what happened, right?
Seth. But yeah, Seth Rollins promo comes out. Of course, he's here. I was assuming to just kind of cut the typical like Vision promo, right? But he kept like on and on about the whole like I don't need anybody. I do everything by myself. And Braun Breaker specifically just looked extremely irritated by it. Like
he was always like pacing in the background.
He
kind of
so
looked like he smelled something bad.
And it was telegraphed. I remember watching it tomorrow. I said, "Oh, he's going to turn on him." I was like, "How do you know?" I said, "He looks pissed. Like he does not like he's not like having it." And so, he's just there. Seth Rollins just because typical Seth Rollins promo. What like it's funny because when you take that part away, you kind of listen to like what he's saying, and he's speaking truths. His matches he's been winning without their help, and then he says, "I don't need Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I chose them." Which again, it's kind of they're trying to do like he's trying to do like a like we don't need each other, we choose to be around each other kind of thing. And again, just the whole like I don't need anybody. I've done everything. He's just laid that in real thick, and that just kind of like set things up for later on in the evening, which was interesting. And I'll get into that once we get there. But initially, the promo was a typical Seth Rollins promo. I mean,
it was, and make no mistake, they have been telegraphing for a few weeks now about, and even they did that at the PLE also when he was like, "Hey, don't come out and help me. I don't need anyone." And then backstage, kind of, they had Reed and Braun Breaker doing the whole like, "Well, if he doesn't need us, we're not going to be out there." Like, so they were clearly going to build this and continue to build to it.
I think it was supposed to be. My understanding was it was supposed to be a turn after WrestleMania or at WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, they were going to let this like slow burn for months because that's how they usually do.
Because even that's the Triple H method. Triple H is very like a slow build, and so excuse me. I think that was the plan eventually because I'm still confident that War Games was supposed to be the Vision versus the Bloodline. That
Me
was
too.
supposed to be War Games, but we'll get into that here. Why that's not going to happen, and what I think it's going to be now. But we'll get into that here in a sec. But yeah, it's just I think that's pretty much what it was. I don't obviously Seth Rollins is injured, which is why they did this. So we'll get into that as well. But after that, we had a pretty okay match with Dominic Mysterio and Penta for the Intercontinental title. This was actually, I like seeing Penta on there. I like the way they had Dom cheat in this one because he did cheat, but he did grab the hammer from the timekeeper and the title, and then the ref took the title and he put the hammer for the ring bell in his boot and then did the 619. Very clever, very clever. I liked it. He's kind of doing really well. I every week I'm more and more impressed by the progress that Dom has made, and knowing that at one point I was like, this kid is like doesn't know what he's doing, and now he's just flourished as the double champ, and his character has developed so well. I feel. And
he was getting a huge amount of support from the crowd. The funny thing is, Penta was the face in this one. He's the heel. He was getting all the love from the crowd. So
and the crowd loves Penta
too.
But that's the crazy part. That goes to show you, like, Dom is like really over right now, which is great. I'm happy for him. That's awesome. I think he deserves it. He's put in the work. He looks great in the ring.
He's put in the work. Yeah, his ring work it's not the best. People always like Dom's not a great work. It's like, no, it's good. It's solid.
And he's still learning. He's young.
And he's still learning. Like he's not Ricochet. I'm not gonna I always use Ricochet as like the benchmark. I'm like, he's not Ricochet. Yes, of course. He's not Kenny Omega. Of course not. He's solid though. And he's fun and he's got charisma. Like for me, he's all around very complete. He's very complete in the ways that Penta's really great in the ring, but Promo work, not awesome. He's okay.
In Spanish, he is.
In Spanish, he is. Yeah. I say in the English market, not so much, but he's what I think of like just total complete and this really done a great job of winning over the crowd and getting himself some credibility, kind of digging out of his father's shadow and doing his own thing. I got to give it to Dom. Like it was good. And of course, he also had like a little mini distraction from Rusev at the end here. Yeah. So there was lots of stuff to let Penta save face here, but yeah, I like this, and I hope that they continue to let him have a significant title run with the IC.
Yeah, especially with the AAA Mega Championship, like that would be cool. So we'll see how that goes. After that, we had a backstage segment. Well, not after that, but we had a backstage segment at some point with Kairi Sane and Asuka, again continuing that abusive type relationship, which is interesting. Yeah, Asuka pretty much just like smacks her and like gets her in a way to get her pumped up for the match. So yeah. Kairi Sane versus Rhea Ripley, because Kairi still a face. I feel like she's like on the fence face kind of thing, and because she doesn't want to fight Rhea, but she does it because she wants to do it for Asuka, because Asuka's like her mentor, right? Asuka's the one who, that's kind of the role that they're giving her. So yeah, she ended up losing to Rhea, which we knew, although she did get a few good licks in. She did hit a few good moves. She did kind of show a little more, like little by little, her aggressive side is coming out. So I think what we're going to see is like this slow, like aggression build within Kairi, and it's going to kind of like change her character. Not a whole lot, but kind of change her for like to like the heel side a little bit more. But then after that, of course, well, during the match, I should say, Io Sky was able to get her licks in on Asuka when Asuka was trying to interfere. And then after that, they just got beat down with the kendo stick by Asuka and Kairi Sane. And then they laid out Rhea on top of the announce desk. And that's pretty much where that ended. So this feud will more than likely continue.
It's still going to continue. Kabuki Warriors still stood tall, still united, but I think we know where this is going. It seems somewhat obvious. You never know. We'll see. Maybe they'll abandon that whole Kairi Sane's might turn on Asuka at some point. They'll just like, oh, by the way, they're fine now.
They're gonna treat it like what was it? It's kind of almost mirrored a little bit to Chad Gable and Otis.
Yeah. Or they kind of built to it, and then didn't really have it blow. It kind of
blew up a little bit.
Kind of blew up a little bit, yeah. But it was just
maybe they'll learn their lesson and make it a bigger blow off. We'll see.
Maybe.
After that, we had Bronson Reed versus Jimmy Uso. Jimmy again talking about how they need to be together, they need to be united. Jay saying, "I can't help you. We need to think for ourselves because I have my number one contenders match at the end of this, and I can't risk hurting myself again and this and that." Well, of course, Bronson Reed was a little too much for Jimmy, because they are pushing Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, obviously, but they are pushing them now. So,
well, and Jimmy was like nursing the injured ribs the whole time. So as soon as they went into this match, I was like, okay, Jimmy's clearly going to lose here.
Yeah, because
they're going to let him save face because he's hurt, and then and Bronson will win, which Bronson should continue to win.
Right, and he did. He won. Yeah. It wasn't like a landslide or anything like that, but it was a victory nonetheless. And there's of course a post match beatdown by Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker came out to get him some. Eventually, Jey Uso came out to the ring and just kind of casually strolled down the ramp, which I thought was interesting. Like, your brother's getting beat down,
like, and you just and he's like,
yeah, I'm surprised he didn't stop to eat while he was at it. And so
it's like, it's not as bad as like when Matt Hardy's getting beat down and then Jeff Hardy would run down, but he have to stop and go like that first. And it's like, dude, just get down to the ring. But it was still like, hurry up, that's your brother, man.
Yeah. So Jay goes to help out, but eventually ends up causing more damage to himself because he also falls victim to getting attacked by Bronson Reed, Bron Breakker. So that did impact him later on in the night. After that, we had Lara Valkyria and Bayley in a awkward match against Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, and they won. They did win. Of course, Judgment Day just falling victim. I wonder whatever happened with that storyline of Roxanne trying to like seduce Dom. That was like going on for a while, but then I think Dom just like caught fire and like.
Well, Dom caught fire, and then they were like, "Liv's going to be out for a while. Let's just sit on this for a bit."
I think so.
Watch when Liv gets closer to coming back, they'll restart it, and they'll be like, "Oh, by the way,
maybe." If the Judgment Day is still around by then, because Finn looks like he's also kind of 1 foot out the door, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We had an interesting moment in this match. Nothing really crazy about this match other than just more character building for Bayley. She had new ring gear, matching ring gear with Lyra. Lyra hesitant to team with her, saying it was just going to be for one more time. But at some point in the match, towards the end, Lyra just like slaps Bayley and it like sets off a trigger in her, and she just like runs roughshod on both Roxanne and Raquel and ends up picking up the victory, hits the rose plant to Roxanne and gets the win.
Yeah, she like hulked her up by like slapping her teammate. And it was like, well, then just do that every match.
I know. She's like, oh, that's all I got to do. It's like the urn for like the Undertaker. Like, it's weird. Like, but hey, who knows? We'll see. It's interesting still. I said it last time. I say it again. I'm still intrigued by this.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly wrestling entertained by this. So that's why I'm like, just keep going. I do like a touch of absurdity. And if you are going to make it that like you just got to jumpstart her crazy and then she's becomes like an unstoppable like freight train, it's like cool. Like let's make this like escalated each time. Like put her like shove her off a scaffolding through a table and then have her pop up and then start attacking everybody. Like it's like them trying to get Bruce Banner as the Hulk like hulked up. It's like we gotta do something and they like push her off into a table. Like I'm totally cool with that. This is fun for me.
I agree. I like it. So and plus it's Bayley. I mean, Bayley's awesome. She's always great in the ring. So I mean, it's gonna be. We'll see how it goes. After that, we had the number one contenders match, which was a main event: CM Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso. Excuse me, sorry guys. We had CM Punk obviously took this one. He won this one just because you're not gonna have Jey do it because he still has his stuff going on with Jimmy and Roman. LA Knight,
and you're going to keep messing with LA Knight, and you're going to keep not letting him win.
I mean, at some point, do you think it's because of the star power that's on Raw? Maybe LA Knight should go to SmackDown.
I don't know. My thing is LA Knight's also super over, and he's been super over for a long time. But they're gonna let that burn out before they do anything with him. And this is where it's the frustration of, and they keep saying it, like active wrestlers, it's what Roxanne Perez and LA Knight are the two most active wrestlers who've had the most TV matches of anyone in 2025. So they're giving him lots and lots of work. They just keep pulling the rug out from under him. And I feel like it's the stop-start momentum thing. And so you're always going to have like, oh, he's going to come. He's like the runner-up to CM Punk, or he's the runner-up to Seth Rollins. He's the runner-up to everybody. I sure hope. Well, we'll talk about this in the minute. We'll talk about this when we get to the end.
Yeah,
I have hopes for LA Knight based off of what happened.
Maybe.
A little bit later.
Yeah, exactly. So me too. But again, this one was a fine match.
It was a good match.
Basic triple threat. There wasn't any shenanigans going on at all. So you had CM Punk win clean. It was a nice finish to it. You had just the typical like hitting finishers, but the thing that stood out to me, kind of made me chuckle a little bit, was when CM Punk hit the GTS to Jey. He kind of knocked the grill out of his mouth. And then, he like looked at it and grabbed it as a trophy, but he didn't see anything after that because out came the Vision to, attack. And this is where you knew something was going to happen because Seth was still in like the ridiculously baggy outfit, right? And so this is where we had them do the beatdown, and then they stood tall. Then Seth got speared by Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed was kind of caught off guard. And Braun Breaker told me,
and so was Heyman. Like Reed and Heyman both were like surprised by this.
I think Paul Heyman sold it more. Paul Heyman sold the hell out of it. But Braun Breaker looked at Bronson and told him, "You got a choice. You're either with me or you're not." And he kind of like not even saying like with Seth, like you're not, like kind of saying like you're gonna end up like that. And Bronson Reed shows him out the way and then grabs Seth and continues to tsunami him. And Paul Heyman's still the only one that's hesitating, right? Because he's like in shock and he's asking him, "What are they doing? What are you doing?" Eventually, Braun Breaker tells him, "You need to decide." And Paul Heyman, of course, Paul Heyman is the wise man. He ain't stupid. So he grabs both men, puts their hands up, and that's where they stand tall at the end. Braun Breaker grabs the title, holds it up, implying that he should be up next.
Yeah. So
this is probably because, we all saw Crown Jewel. Seth Rollins did that. Pretty cool. I liked it. That coast to coast headbutt off the turnbuckle. He landed awkwardly on that right arm or right shoulder. So there's speculation. The news outlets are saying he either broke his arm or it's something to do with his shoulder. Now I haven't checked any updates as of this morning.
Yeah, I've heard it's like rotator cuff potentially. Because remember, he had his arm in a sling, but like on Monday night he didn't have it in anything.
Well, because he had that big old thing on. So who's to say he didn't have something on?
He could have had like a brace underneath or something.
Exactly, and that's why they had him still dressed like that, because he had to hide it. But yeah, he is injured. We just don't know to what extent just yet. So I'm curious how they're going to have him vacate the title, because obviously he's going to have to vacate it, especially if it's a shoulder rotator cuff kind of thing. Those things will shelve you for quite a while, because the shoulder is a finicky joint, and it is a very highly used joint, in case you haven't noticed. And I've had an injury similar to that, and it's not the funnest thing to rehab. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be out for a decent amount of time. So the War Games match that we all thought we were getting is not going to happen. We'll talk after SmackDown. We'll talk about what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Excuse me. But now they're going to push Bron Breakker. And I think that's always been the plan. I think the plan has always been to push Bron Breakker. But I feel they were going to wait till next year to do it after WrestleMania, or at WrestleMania as like a go home angle for WrestleMania, right? Or not go home. I'm sorry, end of show angle for WrestleMania for the Mania after Raw, for the Raw after Mania one, right? I think that's when they were going to pull the trigger on that, because again, Triple H is all about slow, methodical builds, and I think and long term storytelling, super long. But obviously with Seth's injury, they had to kind of do it now.
Well, they had to make a decision on it. So they had to make a decision of either let's really push this out a long time and circle back to it, or let's just do it now. So that's how it felt. It felt like this was totally rushed, but I'm like, they totally rushed it because they're like, we've got a decision to make because Seth's going to be out for a long period. Yeah. And so that's where you see this kind of happen abruptly. And I kind of like the fact that it wasn't all of them together just deciding to get rid of Seth. It was clearly Bron Breakker pulling the trigger on this. And then they were surprised, but then just hopped on the bandwagon because they're like, yeah, Bron's the future. Let's get on the bandwagon with the guy who's from the future.
Right. And they've always been building him as like the hothead temperamental one. So that it makes sense.
Yeah. And so it's like, and hopefully, Seth, this is where I think Seth Rollins is getting a lot of heat because he did a fake knee injury, and now they're like, this is fake. We won't believe it. It's like, well, no, he probably really is injured though.
Yeah.
Which, wish him the best of luck. Hopefully full recovery. Guys had a lot of injuries. So I think it's always a bummer when you continue to stack them up. But this will be interesting to see. I was kind of expecting that at some point, like Seth would have a long title reign, and then you would have Bron Breakker become Mr. Money in the Bank, and then Breakker was going to cash in on Seth. Like right at the end, after they lay waste to somebody else, he'd lay waste to Seth and then cash in on him, and that's how they were going to break it up. But that's like way down there, because you'd have to go past like WrestleMania to like Money in the Bank after that. But now none of that's going to happen. So we'll see. It will be interesting. We can talk about it when we get to the end of the show too. What they do here, because CM Punk's the number one contender. Obviously they're going to create some sort of a match, whether it's CM Punk versus LA Knight, which I'm like, if you do that and then you put CM Punk over LA Knight, that's going to suck. I really wish they would use this as an opportunity to put the title on LA Knight. Like, Seth's out. You've been building this for a long time. Just use it kind of in the same way you took advantage of what happened, with Naomi stepping away and vacating her title so that Stephanie Vauquer could have this platform. And you're like, we're going to push her now. I'm like, just use this as the opportunity to let LA Knight and whatever you got to do, make him the heel. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. The other interesting thing with SmackDown, they have been teasing all week that the main event was going to be a number one contenders match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu.
Which I was looking forward to, by the way.
I was looking forward to it. I was like, this will be super cool. And then we started getting reports like during the week that Jacob Fatu was injured and that it was a non-wrestling related injury. And then during the day on Friday before SmackDown, they started talking about how the match is off. Jacob Fatu is not going to wrestle. And then it's going to be Cody Rhodes. Instead, it's changed to a rematch from WrestlePalooza between Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. And so I was like, okay, well, this is going to be kind of odd. They're going to just do a WrestlePalooza rematch. I hope Jacob Fatu's okay. Well, then the show starts, and it's Nick Aldis out, and he's like, Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu is a number one contenders match for Cody's WWE Championship. And it was like, well, wait a second. Like, we've already heard all these insider reports that have been broadcast out there. We I don't think that they're wrong. So this is clearly not going to happen. And it didn't. Yeah. So this is where I'm like, especially now with kayfabe being dead and so much reporting and so much social media stuff, and WWE does it with Unreal and these other things. You're putting so much stuff out there. Mm-hmm. You should have just steered into this one and said he wasn't going to be in there versus trying to pretend that you were. And they had Jacob come out and do the backstage promo with Cody and say, oh yeah, I'm going to win. I'm going to come for your child. And they're like, yeah, buddy. But they don't end up making it to that point. Because Cody came out and just talked about he was going to focus on SmackDown business. And that was the whole first segment. So just starting off got off on the wrong foot for me because the whole time I knew it was BS. I was like, they're not going to do that. They're going to write him out of it. Yeah. And so, there's going to be some backstage thing where he's hurt, which is exactly what happened later. So I was not a huge fan of this just because if you're going to peel back the curtain with all the social media stuff and all the reporting, I think they should have tried a little bit harder to just address that from the get-go versus trying to pretend that there was still going to be a match and nothing was going on. Did you have the same feeling about this or did you not even care?
So my thing was, I heard about him getting hurt, and I don't know how or when or what or to the extent of what it was, and I hope he's okay because I love Jacob Fatu. I've always been real high on Jacob. I feel like it was too soon for them to try and maybe they just didn't have anything else they could do. Maybe they didn't have anybody maybe the people they had in town because it's always dependent on the talent they have in town.
Who's there?
Yeah. So maybe the folks because I think they just finished up in Japan. So there's probably a lot of folks that are either still in transit or went home after to kind of recover and then are going to meet up at the next show because they kind of do that. People that don't know how that works, they don't all always travel together. They sometimes linger back and do live shows or they split up. Some people will go do live shows and some will do the TV shows and stuff. I think they probably didn't because it was so sudden. I feel like they didn't have anyone else in to kind of fill that viable spot.
Candidate.
You know what I mean? So they could have, because I could have seen it. I thought Nick Aldis was gonna say as you heard, Jacob Fatu's hurt, but we'll have in typical WWE fashion, we'll have Drew McIntyre face a mystery opponent, and then we'll have Drew McIntyre maybe come out, be pissed off, and say why do you always do this to me? You make me jump through hoops. Just give me the number one contendership. He messed up, whatever, right? And then have it be the whole night, who's the mystery opponent? Who's the mystery opponent? I think that if they would have had somebody, they would have done that, I think. But because they didn't, they kind of had to kind of continue playing along just to kind of get to that point. Because I think they were scrambling to probably get a backup plan in place. Because even at the end, when we get to it, very convoluted. It was very weird.
Very weird.
The crowd didn't even know. The crowd didn't even know how to react to it. It was odd.
Well,
so
and I've got some strong opinions about that. We'll get to that. I have some strong feelings about how they did this. But prior to that, so after this, we had Solo and the MFTs attacking Rey Fenix during a photo shoot. So that is going to play later. Yeah. And then the first official match with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defending their women's tag titles against Cesaro and Sol Ruca. This was fun, but immediately when they announced that Blake Monroe was ringside, you knew she was going to do something because she's going to be challenging Sol Ruca for the NXT North American title soon.
Yep.
So it was okay, we're going to get some sort of distraction, something to happen, which is exactly what happened. Charlotte got the tap out on Sol Ruca with the figure eight. It was a good match. You had the little distraction from Blake Monroe, which kind of allowed that to happen. It was good. It was solid. Again, it was just so WWE is really bad about just telegraphing things. Now we're by the way, Brooke Monroe's at ringside and they'll be doing this. It's okay, so we know what's going to happen here. Competitive match though. For me, a little too competitive considering it's Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Mm-hmm. I know you're trying to put a little bit of shine on the NXT talent. It just shouldn't have been that competitive, I felt but it is what it is. Good stuff. Solid match though.
It was a decent match. It wasn't, like I said, it was a typical just, hey, they're going to retain. Let's just go through the move sets. Let's just get things, get the crowd going, get the crowd warmed up, all that good stuff. It wasn't, for sure was not my match of the night. That came after, but so match of the night I thought was phenomenal, but there was two things that I really upset me about it. We also got an Aleister Black and Zelina Vega promo with them saying, why are we aligned? It's you guys are married. What are you talking about? Yeah. Shocking. This was always the plan. I'm always the plan for a married couple to support each other? This is the least shocking thing ever. But, again, they're both heels. I'm glad they're together though. I like Zelina Vega with Aleister Black. I think
I do
fits
too.
them.
Yeah, I think it totally fits them. It's just kind of like it's not exactly the surprise of the century. Surprise of the century did come up in their next match. So you had Sami Zayn and Nick Aldis arguing backstage about, Nick was trying to stop him from doing the open challenge because of the danger of the MFTs.
Control.
Solo's out of control. It's like, just kick him out then. And then Sami's like, no, we're doing the open challenge. And so it starts off. The Miz comes out to do the open challenge. Carmelo jumps the Miz from behind, kind of returning the favor because the Miz jumped Carmelo from behind when he tried to do his open challenge. So that them dissolving has continued. Obviously, they're going to have a blow off match at some point. So when the Miz got ambushed, they needed somebody else. And we got the surprise return of Ilya Dragunov coming back after a year out. And I was like, man, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And this was an absolute treat. He looked great. This match was my match of the night. I'm sure it was your match of the night. This thing was bananas. The two things that I was really angry about is we got 2 long commercial breaks with no picture-in-picture during this one. And I'm like, I have been waiting a year to see this guy, and you're going to cut out like half of the match. Like at least 6 minutes of this match was on commercial, and it wasn't picture-in-picture. So you just had to sit through the commercial break. But
one of the commercial breaks came to like when he was about to do something big. He ran up the turnbuckle and it's like, commercial.
And we'll be right back. And that's why I was like, are you freaking serious? Like that, it really, really upset me. But in spite of this, we got a fantastic, explosive match with a wild ending because Solo did walk out to cause a distraction. And then you had Sami Zayn going for the Helluva Kick. And then Ilya Dragunov was able to counter with the Torpedo Moscow. And then he hit the H-bomb right after this and won the United States Championship on his return after 1 year, which I did not see coming at all. He did kick out of the Helluva Kick Blue Thunder Bomb earlier also. Yeah. It was great. I loved it. Normally I would be surprised. I'm like, wow, they ended that title run for Sami really, really early. But if you're going to surprise somebody, this is the one to do it on. If you're gonna do some sort of a surprise thing and have Ilya Dragunov come back after a year of being out, and he had a knee brace on and everything at this point because of the knee injury. But this was great. I love the heck out of every moment of this.
I did too. I enjoyed this. I love Ilya. I think when he came out, I told him I was like he's gonna win this title. I was like, you can't be shelved for that long and make a surprise return like that and not win the title. And I'm glad they put it on him. I think he's well deserving. It was long overdue. I think that they were eventually going to do something like that for him before he got hurt, because they had him feuding with when he fought against Walter. Not Walter, sorry, Gunther. When he fought against Gunther. But he was competitive against him, and that it goes back to the NXT UK days and stuff. But I'm very happy it was Ilya that took the title off of him on an open challenge on SmackDown, which is great to see. The crowd loved it. The crowd was so into this match. They were just erupting. And it was so cool because they've been building for the longest time that combo of the Helluva Kick and Blue Thunder Bomb being like the ultimate finisher.
That's the devastating finisher.
Yeah, and so when it happened, he kicks out of it. Over. It was great. Like the crowd was thoroughly shocked. I was thoroughly shocked. I was like, oh hell, he kicked out, and so it was great. I loved every bit of this. This was my match of the night. We definitely got a treat.
Yeah, this is a PLE quality match. Yeah, is what I will say.
Yeah.
Now the strange thing on this too, though, is that of course the MFTs came out and attacked right at the end when everyone was done. And then you had Rey Fenix run down to try to get the save. And then you had Bo Dallas pop up on the Jumbotron.
Which, by the way, how freakishly almost does he look like Bray Wyatt?
Yeah, he looked.
I mean, I know they're brothers. Obviously, they're brothers, so obviously they're gonna look similar. But like, just he's channeling
with
his
the
inner
beard
Bray.
And the hair, and like he's put on some more weight now. He's really just channeling the same type of energy. Like it was like eerie.
It was. I loved every bit of it. Yes.
And it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. So, and then he just kind of called out. So now we're getting the Wyatts all appeared at ringside. So now we're getting the MFTs versus the Wyatts, which
I think is going to be our War Games match, because they were like, because think about it, on commentary, they were like, oh, they're going to go to war. Oh, look, they look like they're about to go to war. And the Wyatts and the MFTs are going to go to war. They kept saying that. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be the War Games match. Like, and I would not be mad at that at all. First of all, I would like to point out, and I know I wasn't here when he debuted it, but Tama Tonga and his face paint and Tonga Loa and his face paint, God, Gorillas of Destiny. I am thoroughly happy that they did this. I love it. And then they expanded it to the rest of the MFTs. I feel it helps so much. It's something simple. It's face paint, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it sets that tone so well, and it just looks so like intimidating for the opponents, right? I love every bit of it. I'm happy that they let. I saw a post on social media from Tama Tonga that says I'm back, and it showed like his God face paint, and I'm like, yes, this is what I like. I want them to stay aggressive. I want them to stay violent because that's what they were, and that's what they were in New Japan. You know, the Girls of Destiny were a formidable tag team, and I hope it just kind of like spreads to the MFTs. I feel we're gonna get a good banger of a match here between, or a feud here between the Wyatt Six and MFTs.
Yeah,
it gives them both
Justin,
something.
As you said, just in time for War Games, because this does feel like a throw, like not thrown together, but it feels very fast, and it does feel like it's a pivot, and it does feel like, hey, we're pivoting, which I'm okay with because I didn't necessarily want to see another version of the Bloodline
at like War Games. We talked about that. War Games.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't really want to see that. So like, I know the MFTs. Yes, you could make the argument that this is a version of the Bloodline, but I'm like, it's the new Bloodline, version with and I think including the Wyatts in this feels fresher than what we were going to see. So I'm okay with it. I feel like this was a good pivot. So, and hopefully that's what we end up getting. Hopefully we're not speculating too much, and that's what we end up getting here.
Shout out to Nikki too. Nikki Cross was ready to go in there and throw hands too.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Well, that's where I'm like, but wouldn't that make them like one person short though for the War Games match? Because you need 5, right?
Yeah, you got Bo Dallas.
Is that Uncle Howdy? Yeah. Oh, Dexter Lumis, GAC. Okay, so yeah, you do with Bo Dallas. You do have 5. Okay, because it's just 5 versus 5, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, then they've got enough. Perfect. After this, we got Motor City Machine Guns versus Los Garza. This is a really great match. It's the 1-year anniversary for Motor City Machine Guns in WWE. They hit the Skull and Bones, picked up the win over Los Garza. Good stuff. It was fun.
Yeah. It wasn't. Cleanser. I mean, it honestly, like, you followed the Sami Zayn and Ilya Dragunov match. Like, sorry, somebody had to follow it, and it was them. But it was an okay match.
I was like, this is solid stuff. So I'm good with that. Fun. And then you had Fraxian backstage arguing with DIY. So I guess they're setting up a match for next week. Like they're all kind of creeping back into the picture. So main event time. Good Lord. So Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre. That didn't happen.
This is going to be interesting.
So they showed backstage. What I didn't like was they run backstage and Jacob Fatu's got like the scaffolding on him, and then there's this huge pile of blood and a huge pile of teeth.
Yeah,
and it looked
like he has a little Looney Tune.
He has no teeth, but he's going like and you see he's got like a full mouthful of teeth.
What's his grill? Like, so I don't know. Maybe his back teeth? Was it his molars?
Yeah, that's I was like, whose teeth are those? Because it's certainly not Jacob's, because you can see in his mouth. But it looked a little too silly and Looney Tunes for me. But he was out of the main event, so you had Drew walk down with a swagger, thinking he's automatically going to get a title shot. You knew that wasn't going to be the case, and Nick Aldis came out, and then Cody came out, was like, "You want a title match?" He's like in a suit, full suit. Mm-hmm. You want a title match? We'll do it right now. And then they just started brawling, and we went to commercial break. It was picture in picture, at least. And then they brawled, and they come back, and then they ring the bell. And I was like, well, wait okay, so it's a title match? Like, this is where I was trying to figure out.
Even like, commentary was confused. They were like, wait, is this a title match? Like, is this not?
I guess it is, because Cody said it was a title match. He called for the bell. The ref rang a bell. He's wrestling a title match in his suit. This doesn't seem like a good idea. And then they just did a lot of brawling outside. And then during the brawl, Cody grabbed the world title and hit Drew McIntyre in the head with it and got himself DQ'd. And I'm like, well, that's a really heel thing to do. And then they just kind of continued brawling. Security came out to stop him from hitting the crossroads on the table, which I'm like, why? Like people do much worse things, and security never intervened. Paul Heyman got put through a table. Yeah. And nobody did anything. And then there was just the security pull aparts and everyone yelling at each other. Show over. Mm-hmm. This really felt like, I get you're making a change at the last second, but at least do an actual match instead of having it like Cody called for this title match because he's going to fight him and he doesn't care, and then he gets himself DQ'd intentionally because he knows he can't grab a title and hit Drew with it, but he did it anyway. So it was like this uber heel thing, but I don't think that they're looking at it as being a big heel thing. I think they're just saying like, Drew McIntyre deserves it, and I'm like, no, that's like a super mega heel tactic.
Well, they're trying to blame Drew for what he did, and I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to blame Drew for what happened to Jacob. Drew saying he had nothing to do with it, which he probably didn't. We'll probably get that unveiling sometime next week.
I'm sure it'll be the NFTs or something.
Somebody, and then I think they're playing it off. The way I saw it was Cody is just so frustrated with Drew trying to play the victim and that he's manipulating his way into stuff. And just Cody still holds that resentment for getting kicked through the table. I don't think he was satisfied with the match. So I think this is just more like they're trying to spin it as like, oh, he was just emotional and frustrated. But I'm like, it's giving heel vibes. Like
it's total heel vibes. And I've said this before, Drew McIntyre has been right when he talks about all like the referee screwing him and this and that. So it's not just and everyone goes, Drew, you're just a whiner, and I'm like, no, Drew's totally right. And then you guys keep doing things. Well, no,
even when Nick Aldis was like, if I find out this was your doing, and Drew's like, you've had me jump through hoops for years. This is no different. I've been doing this. And it's true. I'm like, yes, he's been doing whatever you ask him to do. He's been doing it. So like, why would he do it? Like he did, like Drew had no reason. And that's the thing I like about
Drew really does get screwed all the time. I don't know if it's just bad writing or
I think it's intentional.
This has been carefully crafted. Yeah. Like I don't even want to give WWE that much credit. Like they've carefully crafted. No,
I think this was totally intentional. Screwed. Yeah.
But I'm looking at this going, man, like Drew's totally got a case here. Like he should be furious, and Cody is the bad guy. That's right, Cody Crybabies. He's the total bad guy. He went full heel here, and if he doesn't do the heel turn now, I'm going to be furious because I've been waiting.
It's giving Homelander vibes. That is his favorite character.
100%. So that's how it ended. Awkward week in WWE. Probably made more awkward. Wrestling. I love pro wrestling too, and made more awkward by apparently Rhea Ripley on the last leg of the tour in Japan broke her nose pretty badly. So we'll see if she takes time off or she's going to be out while she's recovering. So just a bad luck and a bad string of injuries. So wishing everybody that's been injured and Jacob Fatu. I always worry when they say it's a non-wrestling related thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he gets a full recovery. It just doesn't sound great because they keep saying it's non-wrestling related and he's going to be out for a significant period of time. So that's worrisome, but hopefully he recovers. Wishing him all the best, wishing everybody that's injured all the best. But yeah, we'll see, man, what happens Monday. You never know.
It's going to be, I've seen crazier things, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and on that note, so that's what happened this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, everybody. Leave us your comments. Let us know if you agree, disagree with us, or if you just want to talk wrestling. We always love to hear from all of you. And that's what we got for this week. So until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you soon.